A convoy on a quiet morning. 58 lives brutally taken. And a crime so shocking, it shook an entire nation. What really happened on that fateful day in Maguindanao? And why did justice take over a decade? This is the story of the deadliest political massacre in Philippine history. Today, we unravel a tale of unanswered questions, hidden motives, and the search for justice. Each detail pulls us deeper into the enigma. Prepare for a journey into the shadows of reality. Let's dive into the story. The Maguindanao Massacre, a comprehensive account. On November 23, 2009, the Philippines witnessed one of the most harrowing political killings in its history, the Maguindanao Massacre, also known as the Ampatuan Massacre. This gruesome event claimed the lives of 58 people, including 32 journalists, making it the deadliest single attack on media professionals globally. The massacre not only shocked the nation but also drew international condemnation, highlighting issues of political violence, impunity, and corruption in the Philippines. The massacre was rooted in a fierce political rivalry between two powerful clans in Maguindanao, a province in the southern region of Mindanao. The Ampatuan family, a dominant political dynasty, had maintained control over the province for decades, often accused of ruling through fear, patronage, and violence. In the 2010 elections, their hold on power was challenged by Ismael Toto Mangudadatu, vice mayor of Buluan town and a member of another influential family. Mangudadatu announced his candidacy for governor, directly challenging the Ampatuan patriarch, Ondel Ampatuan Sr., and his son Ondel Ampatuan Jr., who was being groomed to succeed him. Tensions escalated as the Mangudadatu clan sought to break the Ampatuans' political monopoly. On the morning of November 23, 2009, a convoy of vehicles set out from Buluan to Sheriff Agwak, the provincial capital, to file Mangudadatu's certificate of candidacy for governor. Mangudadatu himself did not join the convoy, fearing for his safety. Instead, he sent his wife, Jeanellen Mangudadatu, along with other female relatives, lawyers, supporters, and journalists, believing that the presence of women in media would deter any violence. However, as the convoy passed through the town of Ampatuan, it was intercepted by around 100 armed men, allegedly led by Ondel Ampatuan Jr. The group was forced off the highway and taken to a remote hilltop area. There, the armed men carried out a brutal massacre. Victims were shot at close range, and some women were reportedly sexually assaulted before being killed. To conceal the crime, the perpetrators used a backhoe to dig mass graves and bury the bodies along with their vehicles. The backhoe, bearing the markings of the local government, was left at the crime scene. Among the 58 people killed, 32 were journalists who had joined the convoy to cover the filing of Mangudadatu's candidacy. This made the Maguindanao Massacre the single deadliest event for journalists in history. The other victims included Mangudadatu's wife, sisters, lawyers, and innocent bystanders who happened to be in the area at the time. The sheer brutality of the massacre and the high number of casualties shocked the nation. Bodies were mutilated, and many were unrecognizable, requiring forensic identification. The massacre drew immediate condemnation both domestically and internationally. Pressure mounted on the Philippine government to hold the perpetrators accountable. Then President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo declared a state of emergency in Maguindanao and ordered the arrest of key suspects, including members of the Ampatuan family. Ondel Ampatuan Jr. was arrested on November 26, 2009, and charged with multiple counts of murder. Other members of the Ampatuan family, including Ondel Sr. and other sons, were later apprehended and faced similar charges. Over 190 individuals, including police officers, military personnel, and private armed groups linked to the Ampatuans, were implicated in the massacre. The trial, which began in 2010, was marred by delays, legal maneuvers, and threats against witnesses. Families of the victims faced intimidation and harassment, while some witnesses were killed under mysterious circumstances. Despite these challenges, the trial proceeded, becoming one of the most complex and closely watched legal cases in Philippine history. After a decade-long trial, the verdict was finally delivered on December 19, 2019. The court found Ondel Ampatuan Jr., his brother Zaldi Ampatuan, and 26 others guilty of multiple counts of murder. They were sentenced to life imprisonment without parole. 15 others were convicted of lesser charges, while 56 suspects were acquitted due to insufficient evidence. The verdict was hailed as a landmark decision, but it also underscored the slow pace of justice in the Philippines. Many of the victims' families expressed relief but lamented the years of suffering and the lives lost during the pursuit of justice. The Maguindanao Massacre remains a stark symbol of the dangers faced by journalists and the pervasive culture of impunity in the Philippines. It highlighted the need for systemic reforms to address political violence, corruption, and the influence of private armies. The massacre galvanized efforts to protect journalists and uphold press freedom. Organizations like the National Union of Journalists of the Philippines and international groups such as Reporters Without Borders intensified their campaigns to ensure the safety of media workers, particularly in conflict-prone areas. The tragedy also spurred calls for political reforms, including disbanding private armies. The government pledged to dismantle private armed groups, which are often linked to political dynasties. Stricter gun control. Efforts were made to regulate the proliferation of firearms, especially in volatile regions. Strengthening the justice system. The case underscored the need for faster and more efficient judicial processes. The Maguindanao Massacre was a dark chapter in Philippine history, exposing the deadly consequences of political violence and impunity. While the conviction of key perpetrators marked a significant step toward justice, the long road to accountability and reform continues. For the victims and their families, the memory of that tragic day serves as a painful reminder of the price of truth and the ongoing struggle for a just and democratic society. Thank you for joining us on this journey through unsolved mysteries, true crime, and tragic real-life events. These stories remind us of the fragility of life and the importance of seeking truth. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Until next time, stay curious and stay safe.